What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the LTQ Wrestling Podcast. We are back with our weekly SmackDown review. Just me this week. QJ was not able to make it. A very interesting episode of SmackDown, that I will say. Very entertaining. A lot of cool stuff. We had a KO and Punk segment that was very good. Randy and Cody brawled. We had some title changes. Chelsea Green started off the show. So let's get into it. So the main event. Sami Zayn against Cody Rhodes got set up earlier in the show. Sami Zayn's complaining about how he got screwed once again. Cody always gets his opportunities, the golden boy, all that. And Nick Aldis says, you know what? Let's do you against Cody. And Sami's like, oh, I got a broken wrist. I can't do it. He's like, well, you wrestled her this summer, Sami, you can do it again. So the match is supposed to happen. Cody Rhodes makes his way to the ring. And then out comes Sami Zayn. And before Sami even walks down the apron, Randy Orton attacks Cody. And Sami's just looking like, okay. And Randy and Cody get into a brawl. They're brawling out in the crowd, and they eventually make their way back to the announce table. They threw water bottles in each other's faces, and Randy grabs a chair, and he's trying to beat the living heck out of Cody Rhodes. And he goes for the final chair blow, and Cody hits him with a low blow, very heel-like from Cody. And he grabs the chair, hits Randy a few times, and before he tries to end Randy, the officials break it up. So some heel tactics from Cody: a low blow, a stiff chair shot. They're teasing a little bit with Cody having a dark side, the Anakin Skywalker side of Cody Rhodes. Obviously not going to turn him heel anytime soon fully, but it's nice to see little subtle hints of it. And they definitely showed that in this segment. And they're going to get that on Sunday night's main event, I believe. Randy Orton against Cody Rhodes. So that should be something. Hopefully the match is actually good and they give it a lot of time. It won't be anywhere near as bad as WrestleMania where we had Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll involved. So let's all at least be grateful for that. All in all, enjoyed the brawl. They don't really do too many brawls like that to end shows anymore. Usually it's kind of the same routine. WWE has a main event, and then Randy would probably interfere, and then there'd be no match happening in a different kind of way. But they didn't do that. They just had them brawl, and that sets up their match in Sunday night's main event. Not sure what's next for Sami after this. I'm sure he's going to have something to do with the KO and Punk feud still. But all in all, I thought this was a really good segment. Both guys beat the living crap out of each other. They have a long history, and they get to have a proper build to a match this time around. So I did not hate it at all. And Randy Orton is a heel, is always a good Randy Orton. Randy's a beast no matter what. But when he's in this Randy Orton psycho heel mode, yeah, we're cooking. So the show starts off with Chelsea Green. She's out there with Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis says, listen, Chelsea, you got to give up the championship. You can't defend it. You're hurt, and you have to give it up. This is the worst part of my job and all that stuff. And Chelsea's talking about how she's always wanted her moment. She's waited for this moment. She sat at home multiple nights, wondering what it would be like. And she's here. And she's talking about how her and Nick Aldis proved all the people in the back wrong. They don't have to like them. They just have to like themselves. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. But Chelsea gives a good speech, but she hands the title to Nick Aldis and walks away. And Nick Aldis says, wait, Chelsea. And he says you have 30 days to get healthy and to be ready for a match to defend that championship. Chelsea's celebrating. She's happy. She's in the ring. She gives him a hug, and out comes Gunther. And Gunther makes his way down to the ring. He said nobody wants to hear this sob story. And he gets to Nick Aldis's face and says, why'd you screw me at SummerSlam, making it a fatal four-way and all that? And Nick Aldis goes back at him saying, you got added to KO's match. I did you a favor. And Chelsea says, you know what, Gunther? It's nobody else's fault but yours. And she talked about how she's the only champion in the ring. Gunther gets in her face, and pretty much they have a face-to-face for a little bit. Now comes Matt Cardona. Good to see him on TV at least. We all knew it was going to happen, but at least Matt Cardona's getting TV time. At least he's getting to spend time with his wife on TV and off TV. So, hey, good for him. And Gunther says, it don't matter what you come out here and do. You will not do anything to me. I can call your wife any slur I want, and you ain't going to do anything about it. And that sets up a match. Matt Cardona goes and punches him in the face. And it was pretty much a beatdown. KO. He did a KO move. He did the apron power bomb to Matt Cardona. But Matt Cardona pretty much got dominated in this match with Gunther. Not much to say about it. I mean, it was pretty much your good old-fashioned beatdown. Like, Matt Cardona jobbed out, tapped out to the Boston Crab, which is kind of funny, did that in Boston. After the match, Nia Jax and Lash Legend come out. They threaten to beat up Chelsea. Tiffany comes out. She ends up getting beat up, and Chelsea just stands there. I don't know why. Like, she just stood there. She shouldn't have just got out of the ring. But, like, it really annoyed me because I get it, Chelsea's hurt. But in storyline-wise, Nia and Lash could easily just beat her up here. Like they literally just stared at her and didn't do anything. Like heels don't care if somebody's injured. If I'm a heel, good. I want to make your injury worse. They just had her stare at, or they just had them both stare at Chelsea, and I'm just like, at least have Chelsea get out of the ring or something. I know her best friend Tiffany's getting her butt whooped, but like you're just standing there with two heels looking at you. That just annoyed me. That's probably just a little not pet peeve, but just a little negative thing I point out about it. But it is what it is. There, like I'm not really tripping too much over it, but it's just like one of the things that annoyed me. We had Carmelo Hayes against Baron Corbin. Not a bad match. Went about 10 minutes back and forth. Carmelo Hayes had a big pop from the crowd. He's over, obviously his hometown, and Baron Corbin ends up hitting the end of days, getting the win here. He retains. Not really sure what's next for Melo after this. He obviously has the fan support, but he don't have the management support or creative support. So I don't really know what they're going to do with him after this. After the match, Lil Yachty hits Baron Corbin with a kendo stick. Baron kind of just stands there, looks back. Trick gets in the ring, hits him with the trick shot. So we're getting Trick Williams against Baron Corbin once again, folks. And their match at SummerSlam was so awesome. Glad we're getting it again. Not really. But yeah, I don't know what's next for Melo here. It's been very disappointing with his whole booking on the main roster. It's just been a complete mess. And it seems like it's not going to change anytime soon. But on a positive note, we had the KO and Punk segment next. KO comes out comes Punk. They're talking about 20 years of hatred towards each other. And KO explains why. He talks about the story from Ring of Honor, how, Punk was a bully to him. And he pretty much yelled at him in front of the entire locker room. And Punk's like, you're holding 20 years of grudge over that? Really? And KO said, it ain't just that. A lot of my friends hate you, all this other stuff. And Punk says, which friends? Name them. And all that stuff. And Punk said a really, really funny quote. He said, being hated by losers is the price you pay for not being one of them. I had to make sure I read that correctly. That was a crazy quote. I thought that was great. And KO, once again, him and Punk go back and forth about how KO wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Punk and how he shouldn't have been more like Punk. And they go back and forth once more. And KO says, I've done something you never will do. I main evented WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And pretty much saying, like, you called me a fast slob. I did that. I won the Universal Championship. And then Punk takes a shot at him saying, yeah, how'd that spear from Goldberg feel when he lost the title? And then KO goes back at him saying, well, if I was like you, I would have lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to a spear. And they kind of took jabs at each other. And pretty much KO says he's regretted for 20 years not punching Punk at that very moment in Ring of Honor 20 years ago. They don't mention Ring of Honor, but you guys know what it is. And he says he can wait 7 more days. He's gonna kick his ass and take that title next week. And then Punk pretty much ends the promo by saying he will put KO's fat ass to sleep next week in Toronto and retain the title. I know I didn't do that promo probably justice, but like, man, it was really good, back and forth. Sometimes it feels a little awkward, like they're not really on the same page when it comes to who should talk or whatever. I guess they're trying to make it more organic with that, which is always a good thing. But like these two don't like each other for real. Like it's a real life beef between these two. It ain't no play. They really don't like each other. They got real life beef. I'm a huge KO fan. I like Punk. I'm obviously a bigger KO fan than Punk. I really want KO to win next week. I know it's not going to happen, but man, this match, I think in ring wise will be very good if it's given the appropriate time. We'll see though. So we had a triple threat tag team title match: MFTs against War Raiders against Truth and Priest. About an 8 to 10 minute match. The MFTs surprisingly got the win here, which is good for them. They need something going. Our Truth and Damian Priest were kind of running dry with the tag team titles, anyways. I'm surprised they even had this long of a reign. But let's be honest. I said this in my short. The tag titles don't mean anything. They're just there. They haven't been defending on a PLE in over a year. I mean, at this point, it's hard to even care about them. It's obvious, though, WWE's very high on this MFT group, or this tag team. They separate them from Solo, and it seems like that's done both sides very good so far, like, which is actually surprising. I thought when they separated Solo, it'd be like, okay, what's next for these others? Like, are they just going to disappear? Now they're tag team champions. Solo's one of the most over people in the company. So good for everybody involved. Obviously, they have a manager now. So we'll see how relevant they are as tag team champions. It can't be any worse than Damian Priest and R-Truth. And hopefully they just get something. I mean, the tag team titles are so much better. And then we had our final title match before the main event segment or main event match was supposed to happen. Tiffany against JC Jane. I mean, it wasn't a very long match. It wasn't a very good match. It was just kind of Mid, really. It ends with Tiffany. She dives on the outside of the ring on the other two of Fatal Influence. And then JC Jane hits her finisher when Tiffany gets back in the ring, gets the win 1, 2, 3. I got a few comments on my shorts saying she's not the rightful winner. She's a bogus winner, all that other stuff. Hey, a win's a win. I'm happy for JC Jane because she was originally supposed to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and they changed plans, kept her out of it. And Tiffany was the one who pinned her to advance. So it's kind of a good story to have her defeat Tiffany for the championship. And maybe they do a Tiffany and Chelsea feud for the title now that Tiffany don't have the championship anymore. But they can focus more on that when Tiffany's healthy, or Chelsea's healthy, I should say. But we'll see. Like, I think it'll be interesting. I thought the SmackDown was actually pretty good overall. I didn't really think it was a bad show. It had some good stuff. So hopefully they continue this momentum. They got a lot of star power on this show now. They got a lot of interesting feuds going on with Randy Orton and Cody, KO and Punk. Obviously, Chelsea Green being champion. She's really over right now. The only really thing I'm not with right now is the Trick Williams and Baron Corbin feud. Like, I just don't care about it. I wish Carmelo Hayes would get treated better. But other than that, I like what they're doing on SmackDown. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this review. Make sure to like and subscribe for more LTQ Wrestling Podcast content. We do have memberships on the channel now. If you want, channel exclusive shorts, videos, I will start putting those out once we get more people into the membership stuff. We're also on Spotify for to listen to the content. As always, please support. Peace.